So we are back with Elizabeth Everett, who just read a sample from The Love Remedy, book one in the Damsels of Discovery. And I'm very curious. You set up the book. She is an apothecary who's developing her own formulas. So that's always a fun premise. And then when you have to sit down to write it, you're like, oh, I've got to develop some formulas. So can you tell me about your research process to learn what an apothecary did and how she would have come up with these formulas?
So I researched Victorian apothecaries quite a bit, and I faced a choice whether to put some of the recipes that I had found in my research in the book or not. And I decided not to because the thing with herbal, well, the first thing is with the apothecaries in the Victorian era did not have a standardized unit of measurement. So they would use something like an egg cup or a wine glass
Hmm.
or so everything was sort of by sight, really, even though they did have the scientific education. The actual cures, the actual ointments and such were personalized. And the other thing is that I considered putting a little bit more about the traditions of herbal use in abortion care, but I just thought that was too risky. I mean, it's sad to say, but we live in a country where women can't get full reproductive health care, and sometimes they feel trapped, or and maybe they'll seek out the alternative. And I didn't want to be responsible for somebody,
Trying
missing
out.
something, or because herbs come, unless you're picking them yourself and distilling them yourself, if you pick up an oil of this or an extract of that, you don't really know how the process has been done, how strong it is. Also, herbs have changed, I've learned in my research, and become more potent, certain herbs.
Hmm.
So the seeds that you'll buy at the garden store will give you a different plant with a different amount of chemicals in it than they used 100 or 200 years ago.
Right. And also, when they were doing it 200 years ago, they were guessing as well, and it was risky then. It could have the outcome they wanted, or it could kill the mother.
Right. So, so what I did was I researched the apothecaries, and I put in enough so that people could have a sense of where they were and what it smelled like and what it looked like. And I mentioned a little bit about the Apothecary's Garden, which is now called the Chelsea's Physics Garden, which I thought was fascinating. And a lot of people have also been fascinated by that because that was a real place, and it's a real place today. So that's, yeah, that was. And then I learned how to extract peppermint oil, but I didn't do it at home
Ooh.
because my family was like, don't, please don't, please.
Please don't.
Kitchen, please. So I didn't.